Let's talk to former Tory MP for Lichfield, Michael Fabricant. He was also Shadow Minister for Trade and Industry and then for Trade and Economic Affairs. Good morning, Michael Fabricant.
Good morning, Ed James. How are you?
Very well indeed. Nice to speak to you. Michael, why does Trump want Greenland and what's your view on it?
The reason why Trump wants Greenland is because he feels, and I have some sympathy with the view, though I don't have any sympathy with the way he's going about it, that if there were a growing tension, and tensions are pretty bad at the moment, between the US and the UK on the one side and Japan, not Japan, on Russia and China on the other. If Greenland is owned by a little country like Denmark, there would be huge temptation with the ice packs, which are melting away in what they call the high north, a bit north of Greenland, and I know that area personally very well. There will be temptation for countries like Russia and China to put bases in the northern part of Greenland for their shipping against Denmark's will. Now, they wouldn't dream of doing that if it were an integral part of the United States. Now, there's already a treaty, and lots of people say, well, it doesn't make any sense, Trump's view, because there is a treaty. America can have more troops around in Greenland if they want, but it's not the same as actually invading the sovereign territory of the United States. That's why Trump wants it, but Trump's not going the right way about it. But having said all that, I must say, way back in 1946, President Truman, who followed on when FDR died, he also made a bid to try and buy Greenland. So, you know, it's not the first time this has happened.
So how do you think he should be going about it then, if you think it's the wrong play at the moment?
Well, I mean, it's his bombastic nature, isn't it?
That's
but
Trump, though, isn't it? That's how Trump works.
That is the way Trump works, and I don't think he works in any other way. You know, in some respects, it gets things done, but in other ways, it's very dangerous. I mean, it was only a couple of weeks ago that he was saying to those poor demonstrators in Iran, look, help is on its way, keep on demonstrating.
And then he backtracked.
And then nothing happened in the end. And you could argue that some people lost their lives thinking that Trump was going to intervene, overthrow the regime in Iran, or at least get rid of a lot of their power to attack people in the streets. And that didn't happen.
Do you agree with
his
Mark?
Nature. But I don't agree. I'm just going to say I don't agree with Mark Carney when he says that everything has changed forever.
Do you not think
that unless J.D. Vance takes over from Trump, I reckon that things will go back to normal, if there is such a normal, when there's a new president.
So you don't think we're facing a new world order?
No. I don't. What I do think is you've got very, very ambitious countries like Russia, like China, who are to be feared, if you like, because I think they're aggressive nations. But if it means a new world order, I think that's what Mark Carney was getting on about, that you can't depend on the United States. I don't agree with that in the long term, though maybe in the short term, he's right.
Here in the UK, do you think we should be rethinking who our friends are?
Well, you know, I don't think we need to change any of our friends. We're already friendly with the European Union. We have a free trade deal with the European Union. Everyone said that would be impossible, but it happened. And at the same time, we've also got, friendship as much as we can be friendly at the moment with an unpredictable president of the United States. But I'm going to be there to see the 250th anniversary of their founding back on July 4th, so I'm looking forward to it.
I bet you are. Finally, Michael, if Brexit happened again, if the vote happened again, do you think people would vote the same way?
At the moment, I don't think they would, but that's because we never took advantage of Brexit. And this is the big problem. You had in the Conservative Party and still have people who never wanted Brexit in the first place and then stopped prime ministers from Theresa May onwards and Boris and Rishi Sunak, let alone Liz Truss, from actually taking full advantage of Brexit. Now, we've got some trade deals, which the European Union haven't got. We've been able to do certain things with America, not just with trade, but with strategic alliances that we would never be allowed to do if we were members of the EU.
Well, it's about to heap all the tariffs on us, though.
Yeah, but they're much lower than that of the EU, where they are much lower level. I mean, it's about 5%, 7% less on most things. And on some things, it's as much as 15% less. So, we've got a good deal out of that. And, we're free to negotiate and do deals with other countries, not just trade deals, but strategic military deals and so on and so forth, which we were never able to do when we weren't a free nation. And believe me, we weren't a free nation. But, and this is the big but, and there could be news which I can't highlight too much. There will be news next week about a wing in the Conservative Party, which I'm not over happy with, to do with, the mainstream, as they call it, the one nation side. But they're the very people that held Brexit up. They're the very people that actually stopped us taking us more advantage of Brexit and making us far more prosperous than we are today.
Well, perhaps...
and incidentally, those people who think we're not prosperous because we're not in the EU, I can tell you that France is doing far, far worse than the UK.